Week 13 of the fantasy basketball season. Here's a few centers I would look to sell high or just trade away this week. The first guys are Raquan Holmes of the Sacramento Kings, and what a season it's been for Holmes. He's a free agent after the year, and there's some rumblings that a few teams are interested in trying to trade for him in the Hornets and the Raptors. So with the deadline tomorrow, that's definitely a possibility. And if he goes to another ball club, I don't think these numbers are going to be sustained for him because it's going to take time for him to fit into the system and know what he's got to do and get chemistry with his teammates. On the season, he's ranked 29th with 13.9 points a game, 8.8 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 1.6 blocks a game, 81% from the foul line, and 65% from the field. In the last couple weeks, it's been a tear for him. He's ranked 6th at the time, 18.1 points a game, 11 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 1.9 blocks, 83% from the foul line, and 64% from the field. So Holmes, his values might be at its highest it's been all season here. And right now, like I said, with a trade rumors happening with him just putting up stats I don't think he'll sustain, it's definitely a great option to sell him high right now. March 19th at Boston, 25 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. March 20th at Philly, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. And then March 22nd at the Cleveland Cavaliers, 17 points, 16 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks for Holmes. So great games, no doubt about it, but I don't think it's going to be sustainable or happen, especially if he gets traded. So if you're a Holmes owner, go out there and sell him high right now. The next center is Mitchell Robinson of the New York Knicks. So it was good to see the big man Mitchell Robinson come back a few nights ago for the Knicks, and he's been playing well in his return so far. In the season, he's ranked 111 with 8.6 points a game, 8.4 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, 1.1 steals, 65% from the field, and 48% from the foul line, which is definitely a bad number. And since his return in the last 2 games for Robinson, March 21st at Philly, 4.6 rebounds and assists, and then last night versus Washington, a huge double-double, 16 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 blocks. So Robinson, that was a huge game for him last night versus Washington, and there's a lot of games where he's only going to get 7-8 points, 6 or 7 rebounds, and a few blocks. So with the big game last night and the double-double, it's definitely time to sell him high. And there's also been rumblings that the Knicks might try to pull off a deal for Andre Drummond. So if that actually happens, that'll definitely hurt Robinson's fantasy value. But right now, while he's back in the lineup for the Knicks, and after coming off a big game, if you're a Robinson owner and you need more scoring or a guard or something, this is a type of deal you could do with Mitchell Robinson and trade him off for something like that, because I don't think these big games are going to come a lot, and I could see just more mediocre ball games, an 8-8 line with a few blocks to sell off Robinson. The next center is Enes Kanter of the Portland Trailblazers, and Enes Kanter, in my opinion, he's the best center in Portland, even with Jusuf Nurkic coming back. But right now, I'm obviously not the GM or the coach of the Portland Trailblazers, and they like Nurkic. They paid him a decent contract, and once Nurkic comes back, he's going to play more minutes than Kanter, in my opinion, and he's going to be the starter as well on the season. Kanter, he's ranked 78th in fantasy basketball, 12 points a game, 11.6 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 77% from the foul line, and a nice 60% from the field. So Enes the Menace, he's the best center in Portland, in my opinion. He's better in fantasy, though, than in reality, because his defense ain't all that great, but he still puts up numbers. He still hustles, and he tries his best each and every night as Kanter. And the last couple weeks, 12 points a game, 10.6 rebounds, 1.9 assists, 85% from the foul line, and a whopping 61% from the field. So Kanter, while his value's up there, before Nurkic comes back in the next week or 2, this is definitely the time to sell him high, because I think Portland, they're not going to play him much. He's only going to play anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes a game, in my opinion. And it's unfortunate, obviously, for the Kanter owners. So right now, while you could get rid of him and get something decent for him before possibly dropping him, if his value definitely takes a hit like that, I would trade him off March 19th versus Dallas. 14 points, 9 rebounds. March 21st versus Dallas, 4 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. And last night, just off this game alone, I would try to sell him off right now. 19 points, 19 rebounds, 6 assists, and a block. So Kanter, he's showing up to play, no doubt about it. But with Nurkic's return right around the corner, it's definitely going to hurt his value big time. The fourth center I would look to sell high or trade off this week is Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. So the Sixers, they've been winning a ton of ball games with Embiid, who's obviously been out with the knee bruise. And Dwight Howard and Tony Bradley, they filled in very well for Embiid on the season. And right now, Embiid, this has been the problem with him throughout his whole career, is injuries and just not knowing when he'll get hurt or the timetable. But obviously, when this guy plays, he's an MVP candidate. And on the season, Embiid averaging 29.9 points a game, 11.5 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.4 blocks, 1.2 steals, 1.2 threes a game, 52% from the field, and 85% from the foul line. So Joel Embiid, he played like a man possessed this season. He played like an MVP, and now with the knee bruise, he's going to miss out 2 to 3 weeks, supposedly, is the timetable for him. And he's already been out since March 14th. And since that time, Philly's won 5 out of the 6 ball games they've played without Embiid. So I see Philly, just like the Lakers situation, where they're resting LeBron and Davis, taking their time with Embiid and making sure he's 100% and ready to go for the NBA playoffs. So right now, with the unknown with Embiid and with Philly playing well without him, I would look to sell him off right now and hopefully get something of decency, especially if you're an owner down in the standings looking to make the playoffs. And the fifth and final center I would look to sell high or trade away this week's Kristaps Porzingis of the Dallas Mavericks. Kristaps Porzingis, when he plays, he's been a good ball player. But right now, I think he's hitting a wall as well the last couple games, is Porzingis. And the Mavericks, there's been rumblings over the last few weeks that they're looking to trade him away already after they signed him to a big contract extension in 2019. So Porzingis on the season, he's ranked 98th in fantasy basketball, 19.7 points a game, 8.6 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 1.6 blocks a game, 2.2 threes, 84% from the foul line, and 48% from the field. But like I said, he might be hitting a wall, and the struggles have happened now in the last 10 days for Porzingis. 11.3 points a game, 9.7 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.3 threes a game. But he's still getting the 2 blocks a game, but only 34% from the field and 88% from the foul line. So Porzingis, he's been struggling. And right now, if I could get anything of decency, I would trade him. Because who knows, maybe even Dallas trades him somewhere else tomorrow at the NBA trade deadline. And then he's a player who we don't know what he's going to do. So right now, if I'm a Porzingis owner with the trade rumors and the struggles, I would look to get rid of him and try to get something of decency from him. The last 3 games, March 17th versus the Clippers, 11 points, 13 rebounds, 2 blocks.